Welcome back. You're still here. I'm still here too. Here's the big exercise. I want you to pretend that you have all the time in the world, that there is no such thing as a limited amount of hours in a week. And I want you to imagine, with all of your categories that you have listed, in a perfect world, not a balanced world, a perfect world, how much time you would spend on each one of those categories. So say you have acting, music, and writing, and romantic time. You have more than that, but say you have those 4. You might say, I want to spend 10 hours a week acting because it's a thing that I do that I love, but it kind of burns me out, and I find if I do too much, I'm out of balance. But I would spend 80 hours a week singing or making music, and so on. So I want you to feel free in this exercise. Go have fun with it. Okay. Now I want you to look at the times that you listed for the categories and look at them realistically. Okay? There's 168 hours in a week. What happens when you add up all of those numbers? So you have too many hours. You have more than 168 hours. So now you go look at your categories and think about some that might overlap with each other. For example, if you had set aside a ton of time for social media, you might do that during the time you're on the toilet. One of the ways I overlap my categories is music and home care. So when I'm doing my cleaning or laundry or what have you, I do my vocal warm-up exercises, and I might practice some covers or do some rapping or what have you. And it's also a really nice way to transition from one thing into another. Some things shouldn't be done together. Some things we know we have to protect from each other, but other things we can overlap. Now, in your categories, we also want to remember things like your day job, like eating, like sleeping, like time that you might need to transition between some of those things. So yes, you're going to sleep for 8 hours, but you might need an hour to sort of slowly get ready to go to bed or wind down before you go to bed. And I set my alarm, but it takes me 3 hours to get out of bed, so I have to schedule that amount of time. So now that you have an amount of hours that's close to 168, including sleeping and eating and mealtime and all of your categories, I want you to take a look at what your A story, your B story, and your C story are. And what I mean by A, B, and C story, and maybe D, E, and F, is the same idea as when you're writing a script. You have different storylines running through the script. So what is the thing that you asked to spend the most amount of time on, or when you had that impulse where time was not an issue? What was the thing you wanted to spend the most amount of time on? That's your A story. And that A story is going to last you for the next maybe 6 weeks or the next month until you create a new time trampoline. So it's not an absolute thing. You don't have to choose what you're going to do for the rest of your life and focus on for the rest of your life. This is a way for us to think about it as planes on a runway. My A story is the plane that's getting ready to take off, that I already have like a pretty significant practice in, or that is something I'm really, really interested in spending all my time on. That's the thing that's going to get the most of my time on my time trampoline. Obviously, we're taking into consideration things like kids and day jobs and those sorts of things that have to be in there. But the A story is the thing that you want to focus on the most. And that, remember, that's not the project you want to focus on the most. That is the category. So that's the hat that you wear. So the B story is the plane that's getting ready to take off, but it's not cleared yet. So the baggage is loaded, the catering's there, but they're still doing a lot of last minute adjustments. The C story is the one that's still at the gate, that's still loading, that still needs a lot of time and care to get ready, inspections, all sorts of things before it's ready to take off. And D, E, F, etc. Knowing what your A, B, and C stories are help you to determine how to lay things out in your time trampoline, which is the step that we're going to do next.